As the clock ticked towards midnight on New Year's Eve, my family was gathered in our small but cozy home, eager to usher in the coming year with joy and laughter. The living room was adorned with festive decorations, and the air was filled with anticipation. After midnight, we spent the next half hour talking and listening to music. I convinced my younger brothers to join me in a friendly video game competition in my room. The sounds of laughter and cheers echoed through the house as we battled virtual foes. Throughout the neighborhood, there were distant sounds of fireworks and the joyous cheer of the neighbors celebrating the arrival of the new year. We had the lights on in my room as we continued to enjoy ourselves as we stared at the TV screen. Amidst the celebration, a sudden sharp noise pierced the air, causing a collective gasp from the family. Startled, one of my brothers pointed towards the window behind the TV, which overlooked a narrow alley beside our house. "Did that sound like a window breaking?" he asked, concern etched on his face. I rushed to the window to investigate. The neighborhood's festivity continued outside, oblivious to the ominous undertones that had just disrupted our celebration. My brothers exchanged puzzled glances as we attempted to decipher the source of the disturbance. Before we could make sense of the situation, Mom called 911 to report the incident. After about 20 minutes, flashing lights bathed our front porch as a police car pulled up outside. We all rushed to the front door as my mom anxiously peered through the living room window. A police officer approached, asking to confirm that we had reported hearing a gunshot in the vicinity. We guided the officers to the bedroom where the disturbance originated. As the officers inspected the window, a sense of dread settled over the room. The other officer went outside to check the window. Upon closer examination, he discovered a bullet lodged into the window panel, mere inches from where we had been hypnotized in our video game. Shock and relief mingled as the realization set in. The bullet had narrowly missed a direct path through the window. The police reassured us that they would investigate the incident thoroughly, and my brothers and I spent the remainder of the night contemplating the fragility of life and the unexpected turns it could take. As the first light of the new year dawned, we clung to each other, grateful for the safety that almost eluded us by a matter of inches. The events of that New Year's Eve would forever remind me of the importance of cherishing the moments we had together. On that chilly New Year's Eve, I found myself racing against time to get home before the clock struck midnight. The city buzzed with anticipation of celebration, but the roads were mostly empty with people already arrived at various gatherings. I navigated through the sea of lights, hoping to reach the comfort of my home before the year changed. As I approached the red light, I noticed a sleek car pulling up beside me, its engine purring with unbridled energy. The driver, a stranger with a daring grin, locked eyes with me. I felt a mix of curiosity and unease as he revved up his engine, the sound echoing through the quiet streets. He pointed adamantly at the red light, signaling his intention with an unmistakable challenge. My heart quickened as I realized what he wanted: a street race. I glanced at the ticking clock on my dashboard. Time was ticking away. Reluctantly, I nodded in agreement, fearing the consequences of declining. The seconds felt like an eternity as we both revved our engines, the tension building with each passing moment. The traffic lights seemed frozen, holding us in suspense. But when it finally switched to green, the night erupted with a roar of vengeance. In a move that surprised even myself, I made a calculated right turn into a quieter street, leaving the eager challenger burning rubber at the deserted intersection. As I distanced myself from the adrenaline-fueled scene, a mixture of relief and apprehension washed over me. I navigated the maze of streets, watching the clock tick closer to midnight. The distant echoes of fireworks filled the air as I approached the familiar glow of my neighborhood. I pulled into my driveway, exhaling a breath I didn't realize I had been holding. Safe within the confines of home, I reflected on the impromptu encounter. The decision to turn away from the reckless race may have saved me from a potentially dangerous situation. Gratitude filled me as I contemplated the significance of starting the new year with a sense of caution and responsibility. As the clock struck midnight, the distant cheers of neighbors and the colorful burst of fireworks served as a backdrop to my quiet moment of reflection. I couldn't help but to be thankful for arriving home unscathed, ready to embrace the fresh beginning that the new year promised. As the years roll by, one New Year's Eve memory stands out vividly in my mind, like a scene frozen in time. I was just a boy then, caught in the magic of childhood and the allure of celebration. Our family had joined our neighbors for a New Year's Eve gathering that promised joy and camaraderie. Laughter echoed through the walls as we eagerly awaited the stroke of midnight. The air was thick with excitement, and the scent of homemade delicacies wafted from the kitchen. As the clock approached midnight, glasses clinked in celebratory toast, and the room was alive with warmth of shared happiness. My family exchanged hugs and laughter with our neighbors, the anticipation of the new year binding us together in a moment of collective joy. As the clock's hand inched closer to midnight, the patriarch of our neighbor's family, fueled by the spirit of celebration, had an idea. He suggested we welcome the new year with a bang. Quite literally. His eyes glinted mischievously as he disappeared into the backyard, returning with a firearm. The room fell silent as he stepped outside, and a hush descended upon the gathering. The cold air carried a strange mix of anticipation and trepidation. Suddenly, the tranquility shattered into thunderous bursts as a neighbor fired shots into the night sky. The gunshots echoed loud and startling, causing a collective gasp from the assembled group. My young heart pounded in my chest, and I instinctively looked to my mom for reassurance. Recoiling in fear and anger at the neighbor's unconventional New Year's tradition, my mom announced that we were leaving. The neighbor quickly handed the firearm to her and made her point it upwards into the dark sky. A burst of gunfire erupted from the weapon, the sharp staccato merging with the distant pops of fireworks. The air was charged with strange mix of awe and disbelief as my mom then released the gun and quickly approached us. We didn't linger much longer after that. The memory of gunshots ringing in our ears made our way home, leaving behind the echoes of an unforgettable New Year's Eve. That night left an unforgettable mark on my childhood. A mix of joy, surprise, and the realization that celebrations, even if unconventional, could etch themselves into the fabric of our memories.